The headphone jack worked for decades. No battery, no pairing, nothing to update. Then it vanished. Not because it failed, but because 70 cubic millimeters inside your phone became worth more than the port itself. Three forces made sure it stayed gone. The 3.5 millimeter headphone jack disappeared from modern smartphones because designers needed every fraction of internal space, wanted stronger water resistance, and saw a moment when wireless audio was finally ready for everyday use. For decades, the jack was universal. Plug in any headphones, no pairing, no charging, and it just worked. Its analog simplicity made it a fixture on everything from cassette players to the latest smartphones. But as devices got thinner and batteries grew larger, the jack's fixed size and the hole it required became a problem. Manufacturers could not ignore the engineering cost, a deep, reinforced cavity cutting through the frame, hard to seal against water and impossible to shrink any further. When Apple announced the iPhone 7 without a headphone jack in 2016, the reaction was instant and loud. Over 120,000 tweets used the hashtag #NoJack in just 2 days, and surveys showed more than half of users were upset or considering a switch. Yet the move was not random or arbitrary. The jack did not fail, it simply got outcompeted. Phones needed every millimeter for bigger batteries, more advanced cameras, and tougher, sealed frames. At the same time, wireless earbuds were becoming reliable and common enough that most people could make the switch. The real story is not about a broken standard, but about how space, water resistance, and the rise of wireless audio collided. To understand why the jack vanished, you have to look inside the phone, at the fight for space, the challenge of sealing every opening, and the timing that made wireless audio good enough for the mainstream. Inside a modern smartphone, every cubic millimeter is spoken for. The largest share goes to the battery, followed by camera modules that keep growing in both size and complexity. Even a single component, like the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, creates a ripple effect throughout the device. According to iFixit's tear-down engineers, the jack is not just a hole in the case. It needs a metal cage about 70 cubic millimeters in volume, a reinforced cavity nearly 1 centimeter deep, and a cable that snakes through the frame to the main board. That is a chunk of real estate that cannot be used for anything else. Removing the jack frees up 1 to 2 millimeters of internal thickness. On the iPhone 7, Apple used that space to fit a battery rated 55 milliamp hours larger than the previous model, a small but meaningful boost. Other brands made similar gains, squeezing in bigger camera modules or shifting haptic motors and speakers for better performance. The benefits go beyond battery life. Every physical opening in the frame is a challenge for water resistance. The jack's moving parts and circular cavity are hard to seal, and even a tiny leak can mean a failed IP67 test. By eliminating the port, manufacturers could use a continuous gasket around the chassis, making it much easier to pass water resistance standards. The trade-off became clear: keep the jack and sacrifice space, battery, and sealing, or remove it and unlock new design possibilities. For engineers, the math was simple. The jack's footprint was too costly to keep in a world of thin, tightly packed, and water-resistant phones. Bluetooth audio crossed a key threshold in 2016. With aptX low latency, wireless lag dropped to around 40 milliseconds, fast enough that most people couldn't spot a delay in videos or games. At the same time, battery life for true wireless earbuds jumped from barely 2 hours to more than 5 or 6 hours on a single charge, thanks to better chipsets and smarter power management. These milestones meant wireless audio was finally practical for daily use, not just a backup for emergencies. For the first time, going wireless didn't mean giving up reliability or convenience. The timing was no accident, and as soon as wireless was good enough for the mainstream, the last technical reason to keep the analog jack started to fade. Accessory sales offered a powerful incentive for manufacturers to drop the headphone jack. Wireless earbuds and headphones consistently deliver gross margins between 30 and 35%, far higher than the slim returns on the simple analog jack itself. In 2023, Apple's accessories division, including AirPods, brought in over $30 billion, with analysts estimating that AirPods alone account for a large share of that total. Samsung and other brands saw similar patterns, with wireless audio accessories driving billions in annual revenue. Once a user buys into a brand's wireless audio system, they are more likely to stay for future upgrades and features. The economic logic lines up with engineering. Removing the jack not only frees up space, but also steers users toward high-margin accessories and deeper brand loyalty. This alignment helped make the decision stick across the industry. Within just a few years, most people stopped seeing the missing headphone jack as a deal breaker. By 2020, surveys found that less than 10% of smartphone buyers still cared enough to let the absence of a jack sway their decision. Manufacturers had already redesigned their devices around a jack-free architecture, making space for larger batteries, more advanced cameras, and stronger water sealing. Bringing the port back would mean thicker phones, a smaller battery, or the loss of water resistance, all for a feature that most users had learned to live without. No major phone maker has announced plans to restore the jack through 2025. Once consumers adapted and the industry locked in, the cost and complexity of reversing course outweighed any possible benefit. Today, wireless isn't just an option, it's the standard. The universal jack gave way to design priorities and market forces that still shape every new phone. Simplicity lost to progress.